calling out a narcissistic individual never goes quite how we would like. They're not going to admit fault. They're not going to take responsibility. They feel entitled to do as they please. You calling them out questions that sense of entitlement. They're incredibly exploitative and they lack the empathy to care. Now, we can be called out on something and we can deny all knowledge and then think, oh, actually, yes, I did. And then go back a couple of days later, I've got an apology to make. And it's not always an easy thing to do. Or we can have that misunderstanding. So we think someone's talking about one thing and they're talking about another. And we're like, yeah, we're coming from completely different places. However, you're right from the place you're coming from and I'm right from the place I'm coming from. But with what you're coming from, I'm actually in the wrong. Narcissistic individuals don't do this. When you call them out, they resort to various defense mechanisms to protect their fragile ego and to maintain that sense of superiority. So when you call a narcissist out on their behavior, lying, cheating, on their deception, what they've done to another person, they often refuse to acknowledge any form of fault, refuse to admit any mistake, claim the other person made them do it in some way. If they promised you something, they will go all out to gaslight you and deny all knowledge of ever saying it in the first place. They can go into repression, so they can push down any negative feelings that they're getting. When you call a narcissist out, it usually causes that narcissistic injury, which can lead to narcissistic rage. Now, if it's just you and the narcissist alone, potentially they will rage out at you, which is why it's always wise to be careful when calling a narcissistic individual out. However, if you try to call them out in front of an audience and they take this as a criticism, you're trying to humiliate them, they can remain one of the calmest people you could ever meet to maintain that false image of theirs, which can frustrate you and cause you to react negatively. And then they feel smug because now you're the one who looks bad. However, the second you are alone with that narcissist, they will make you pay. And if you're not alone with them, they will find out a way to make you pay. So if you call them out, they can push down their inner rage and remain calm, remain smug to try and gain that reaction from you. They can have that reaction formation. So they're going to present a complete opposite of how they truly feel, which feeds into that repression. They're going to put on a facade of kindness to mask their true nature. They're going to deny all knowledge and pretend it wasn't them and ask what's wrong with you, what's your problem. They're going to pretend that you're the one that's attacking them. They're going to mask their true feelings to try and make you look bad or make you feel like you've got it wrong in some way. They can go into that regression where they're going to revert to those childlike behaviours. No one throws a bigger tantrum than a narcissist who's losing control of somebody else's mind. So when you call them out, they can sulk, they can fall silent, and it's done to avoid responsibility, or they can out and out throw a major tantrum in order to regain the attention. They can play the victim of how it's everybody else's fault to gain the sympathetic attention. They can go for displacement, where they're simply going to shift the blame onto somebody else. They're going to refuse to accept any responsibility, refuse to accept fault. They cheated on you. They're just going to turn around and say, well, if you'd have paid me more attention, I wouldn't have gone elsewhere. Yeah, if you pay them more attention, it's still not enough and they still go elsewhere. They will promise to get something for you, like some medication from the pharmacy, and then they will forget all about it. And when you ask them, they'll accuse you of being the problem for not reminding them. Yet if you remind them, they accuse you and they tantrum and claim, they go into that regression and claim that you're the one that's treating them like a child. So you should do it for yourself. And if you do it for yourself, they get offended that you didn't ask them to do it for you. There's no winning with narcissistic individuals. They will try to rationalize, they will try to justify their behavior away to seem normal, to get you to rationalize and justify it. And they can do this by blaming somebody else or claiming that somebody else deserved it. And they can go all out to project their own negative traits and behaviors onto others. They can come at you with baseless accusations, unjust accusations, unfound accusations, to make it look like you're the one that's the problem and not them, to get you on the defensive, to get you explaining yourself to them so they don't have to explain themselves to you.